All right, we're live in the pre-show section here. What's up, Micah? How are you?
Not much. Just
Should I call you Mika all night? Because it's been a long time. You got to give me a little credit.
if you want to, especially if you want to drink, because
I'm
we have that rule.
Listen, yeah. For anyone who's here early and catching the little behind-the-scenes thing here we do, let me tell you, the trials and tribulations of minus the last 3 days. We could do a freaking 30-hour video on that shit. Crazy. Well, for anyone who is here early, first and foremost, thank you. We'll be going fully live at 10 o'clock. I almost said 9 o'clock. That's the normal. So last night, we wanted to go live. We were ready, right, Micah? We were all prepped. Mm-hmm. Things were really good. And the internet went down. And it went down so hard that their phone lines went down. And it was bad. It's the first time that's ever happened. So for anyone who is here early, if you've never been to the show before, something important. You'll see on the screen right now how to join. You want to go live. You want to get on the air and voice your opinion on tonight's topic. You simply just join our Discord. The easiest way to do that is to go to Pantheon.plus, click the join Discord link, and then that'll bring you right into the Discord. And from there, all you gotta do is there's a minus live green room group where you'll see us live. There's a green room where you can text in there. You know, you can also do it in the YouTube channel. And then there's a green room voice channel. You can just go in, hang out in, and then when we start bringing in callers, as I like to say, quotes, callers, we'll pull you in. So I'm gonna mispronounce. Micah, you know how much I mispronounce names, right? Mm-hmm. Are you looking at the YouTube chat?
Yes.
Xmoko? Is that right? Give me a thumbs up, Xmoko, if I'm saying that right. Because right now I'm calling you Xmoko. Xmoko.
Could be Smoko too, or Yoko, whatever.
He says it's fine. Listen, whatever you guys want to call me. Jared, welcome and thank you. Yeah, it would have probably been worse in the middle of the stream. I guess not starting is worse than right in the middle. So it's all how you look at things, right? What is up, Bannock? Welcome in. We'll get started up here, guys. We like to go right at the start time because we get out there and annoy everybody on Reddit and a bunch of Discords and our own Discord and Twitter. And we say 10 o'clock tonight, usually 9. So as soon as we hit that 10 o'clock, we'll throw up the warning. We'll throw up the Pantheon Plus production. We'll go live. And we'll start our topic tonight, which is, how should you gain experience? I think it's going to bring forth a lot of stories. I really hope we get some people in the green room who want to come on live tonight and tell some of their stories about why they want to go which way. Because I think there's a lot of good stories around both.
I have a lot of good stories myself.
Good. So if nobody shows up because we're doing it on a Friday, me and you have to carry this show.
That's fine, because I have tons of stories when it comes to this. I really do.
Well, don't tell too many stories yet. Save it for the real show.
And they may not be the best stories because they're not all dramatic, but
Listen, if no one's watching, they don't even have to be good stories. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I could just make stuff up and just like.
Yeah. There's no fact checkers here.
I could talk about how Brad was my second command in my guild.
Next on CNN, content creator Micah of Micah Does Stuff, lying on a live stream. Yeah, I think you're okay. I don't think we'll have any. What's up, Great Code? Thank you for coming on a Friday. I don't like doing Fridays because the reason I pick Thursdays is because nobody's doing anything on a Thursday. But I feel like Friday, people got stuff to do. Or at least some kind of like plans. You plan Friday, you don't plan Thursday. I kind of feel bad having to push it to Friday, but I guess we'll
Unless
see.
You're me, I have no life.
Yeah, you and me both. Cheers.
I used to set guild events up on a Friday night because I had nothing else going on anyway.
We raided Tuesday, Thursday, which became Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. No, actually, we did Wednesday, Thursday. Crinkled said there's tornadoes outside, and he's here. See, I should have somehow found a way to put a satellite up and get internet so I could do the show. Like, I could be as dedicated as Crinkled.
I don't know where Crinkled is, but where I grew up, we had tornadoes all the time. We'd climb up onto our roofs and sit there and watch the tornadoes.
All right, guys, we're hitting 10 o'clock here. So, Micah, I'm going to get this show started. We're going to kick it off. Right before we do, if you want to join the show, the instructions are on the screen. You only have a couple seconds to read that. So if you guys want to join, jump into our Discord. You can do that on www.pantheon.plus. Hit the join Discord link in the menu. That'll bring you into our Discord. And from there, all you got to do is jump into the green room, and we'll pull you in. So here we go. Here's the live show. Let's get started with a little of our viewer warning, courtesy of Nathan Napalm.
Oh, we're live? We're streaming right now? Cool. Awesome, man. Let me just,
What is going on, everybody? Minus here from Pantheon Plus, and I want to thank everybody to come to episode 6 of Pantheon PlusYou. 6 straight weeks. We will not be denied by internet outages. We'll just be slightly moved a day in an hour and frantic pace trying to get here. So first and foremost, I want to welcome our co-host tonight, Micah, who I called Mika for majority of our friendship. Yep. Micah from Micah Does Stuff. Welcome to the stream tonight, co-hosting with me. We'll get into the topic here in a second, but welcome, man. Thanks for rescheduling as well.
No problem. Anytime.
Awesome. So, Micah, why don't you tell people a little bit about what you do? Yes, you cover Pantheon, but you do a little bit more. And what's the best way for people to communicate with you, find you, get in touch with you if they like your opinions tonight or they want to come argue with you if you're wrong?
Well, I am always on Twitter and Instagram, and also I have my YouTube channel where I talk about Pantheon, and I'm actually going to be expanding my YouTube channel very soon because I want to start doing more. So there's going to be a lot more topics when it comes to gaming and when it comes to just other random stuff that I find interesting. So,
awesome. Well, I know one of the things you do that's pretty cool is like unboxing of like limited edition collector's items and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is, because I am broke, I'm going to actually start sending you links to stuff that I want to see that look cool and convince you to buy them so we can see an unboxing.
I'm totally cool with that. I'm always looking for stuff. I spend way too much money on collectibles.
Think about it as me helping your channel grow. I think that's fair.
I'm totally cool with that.
So first and foremost, we said some welcomes to people who were here in the early stream. We always put the stream up about 5 minutes in advance. We kind of give the instructions out on how people can join into different channels, join our Discord, and a little bit about the show. So first and foremost, let's welcome some of the people who've lit up chat already. Exmoko, Jared, you guys already got a hello. Bannock, you as well. Crinkled, what is up? We got J-Buzz that just jumped in. We got Thump, welcome back, Thump. And Scribbles. Scribbles, thanks for joining, man. That's awesome. Hello, friends, he says. So tonight, let's go into the show. Let's get it going. So first and foremost, we do the show for an hour, so we should go till about 11 p.m. Eastern, but we do put about a half hour of what we call overtime into play. And we do that because in our Discord, there is a channel underneath the live channel we are in. You guys can't jump into the live channel for obvious reasons. I can't just have people jumping in and out of it. It'd be chaos. But what we do is sort of based off of like a sports radio show, if you've ever listened to one, or a call-in radio show. If you jump into the Green Room voice channel, which obviously also gets some good conversation in there. Micah, you've been a part of that before. But if you jump into the green room, once we start asking for callers, we will bring you in and you can discuss with us live on the air your opinions on the topic we're talking about. Now, tonight we've moved the show, so I don't know what the turnout's going to be like. So if we only go an hour, it'll just be me and Micah telling stories. So we'll see how it goes. So the point of this show is we typically try to come up with a topic surrounding MMOs, particularly, obviously, Pantheon. And we talk about what we think about that topic, and we give the opportunity for the community to weigh in the chat room and voice, however you want to do it. And we have 2 meters. So that meter tonight is, what should the main source of EXP be in Pantheon? And let me explain that a little bit. And then, Micah, what we'll do is I'll place my bar, and then you're going to place the viewer bar. And you're going to be in charge of moving that and just telling me what you think as we talk to different people in the community. You'll have a little bit of say over how much we get to move it with how good of a point they make. Something like that. So you're in charge of that.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about experience. And what I've done here is the meter is, if you raise it all the way to the top, you want all your experience to come from combat. If you keep it all the way at the bottom, you want all your experience to come from questing and perception. So if you look at games like World of Warcraft, they are closer to questing and perception, even though they don't have perception. Questing is where you gain a majority of your experience. And there's been times in World of Warcraft where there's the ability to run dungeons like crazy is like really good, and then they nerf it, right? Like, oh, we don't want people doing that. So I would say that while there's been a lot of times that combat has given you experience in WoW, they typically find a way to nerf that so that you're forced to kind of do the quests to gain the best experience. So I would put World of Warcraft a little lower on that meter. But then there's games like Everquest. And I think that anybody who played Everquest knows that the only way you got experience was from killing things. The game was called Everquest, and there were literally no quests. I mean, for the most part, a couple quests here and there. J-Boots and Harvester are the only ones I remember. I know there were a lot more, but those are the only two I did all the time. So let's go ahead and get into the topic. I'm going to set my bar here. I personally am highly in the group of people that thinks that experience should come from combat. So let me explain that a little bit. One of the things in WoW that causes some issues is the gap of knowledge between a low-level player and a really high-level player. That's why people are afraid of damage meters. That's why people don't like looking for group options, even if it's not teleporting. It's just the toxicity that it brings to have an elitist yelling at somebody who's more casual, right? And I think games like World of Warcraft have enabled the gap between the casual player and the hardcore player more than a game like Everquest. The reason I say that is because in a game like Everquest, where you're constantly killing and fighting and strategizing and it's difficult, you're learning your class constantly. You're constantly being challenged to know your abilities, how to get in and out of difficult situations, just a lot of that type of thing. Whereas in World of Warcraft, when you're questing, there's usually 2 attacks that you need, and that kills the mob that you have to kill 100 times to get items. So I think that when a game is based heavily around questing, and I'm not saying all of them, there could be games out there that do it a little bit better, but I've found in a majority of games that are based around experience gained through questing that you don't really use all your abilities. You use a couple here and there, and then you go into these more difficult situations, and you really haven't played your class incredibly. So that's going to lead me to take my meter here. I'm the blue meter. I'm going to drag this up, and you guys obviously can convince me otherwise if you want to jump in and chat. But I'm going to put this up at, let's say, like 90%. I want it to come from combat experience. I don't mind a little bit from questing or other side things, but I'm going to put that up there. We're going real high. I want a majority of my experience to come from grinding, dungeons, killing, using my abilities, using my class. So I have said my piece. Micah, I'm going to turn it over to you. You're going to represent the viewers first. You're going to go ahead and set that meter. So the floor is yours.
Well, I really want to play devil's advocate and say questing, but I just can't do it because I don't believe in it. I am very much on the combat experience side too, and that's mainly because not only does it help you play your class, but it gets you to play with other people, and it lets you. There's so many good things about like just having that social experience in an MMO, and you can really, really feel it when it's lacking. And that combat experience just really pushes you into that. And I've played both sides, like where I played Final Fantasy XI, where everything was combat experience, and then 14, where everything is basically questing. And the combat is just so much more. And it's all that social experience, and also getting to know your classes, because there's a whole lot of people in 14 at max level who do not know how to play their classes, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, 14 is a great example of where I feel questing's done worse than any game I've ever played. Is that harsh? I like the game. I think that overall there are very many redeeming qualities of the game, and I know that you played a lot, but I would have to tell you the leveling experience is
horrible,
miserable. And
yeah,
miserable is a harsh word, because there's people who really like lore and they love the story aspect because it's like playing a real Final Fantasy game on consoles, so to speak. Not me.
See, but 11 had the lore too. 11's story was amazing for the most part, and they had strictly the combat experience. So that also shows that you don't need to intermingle those things.
That's actually an outstanding point, because I wouldn't think I would even remember to say that. I know you've played a lot of 11, so that makes sense.
Oh yeah, a whole lot of 11. I played so much 11 that I would actually go to sleep at night, and I'm a lucid dreamer, so I would go to sleep at night and I would actually be walking through the streets of Sandoria in my dreams. I played that.
So I have an important question for you. When you had those dreams, this is what I always said was my problem in life. You had those dreams, you were your character walking through the streets? You were in the world?
I was in the world, yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I was my character because I was never able to actually see myself.
Fair. But you were in the world.
I was in the world, yes.
So when I had dreams of playing EverQuest, I literally dreamed sitting in front of the computer playing it. So does that tell you something's wrong with my imagination or what? Like, yeah, that's my dreams were so shallow that all I wanted to do is wake up and play the game to progress. I didn't want to be in it. I didn't want to be my character. I just dreamt of playing more. So.
See, whereas me, I was actually in the world, and it was so weird because my mind would fill in all the gaps. So like when I would look down at the street, I would see the cobbles on the street and like all the cracks and the little like plants in between. So I mean, it looked like a real place. It didn't look like a computer generated place.
Yeah, see, for me,
really
I played in first person. Does that count? At least when I was looking at the monitor, it was in. All right, so I'm getting us off topic, but I had to. That reminded me of that, so I had to jump into that. So, okay, I've set my bar. Where do you want to set it?
You want to know what? I'll just join you up there.
Yeah, we're going right tick for tick here.
Yep. Like I said, I want to play devil's advocate. I just can't bring myself to do it.
Honesty is more important than being devil's advocate. So me and Micah share exactly the same opinion here, that we want to grind out that experience. We want to adventure through the world and find dangerous areas and kill things and be better at our class and go into dungeons and find groups and camp. All that fun stuff that is of a yesteryear. So with that, we have it set. Viewers and myself are very high. You can come in, you can drop that meter down. You can want more questing and more perception based into that. You can agree. There's a little bit of room to move it up if you want to move it up. So right now the green room is pretty clear. If anybody wants to jump in, we only got one of our supporters in there. We're going to be bringing in Coco Mojo here shortly to the stream. But right now it's open. So if you guys want to jump in, jump in. If you don't, and you just want to listen, be part of the show via the chat, then have at it. Me and Micah will just tell a lot more stories of grinding out experience. So first and foremost, Coco Mojo, we are going to be pulling you in now, so be ready. What is up, Coco? How are you?
Not bad, yourself?
Doing good, man. Thank you, first of all, for jumping into the green room. We're on a Friday. This is not normal. I appreciate you adjusting your schedule to be here tonight. Thank you very much for that.
Not a problem. I was really bored.
He was really bored, and we're just at least making him a little less bored. So we're doing our jobs here. So Kokomoto, where do you stand on this? What are your thoughts on experience gained through the MMOs you've played, and what stories do you have with it?
Well, I started MMOs around Lich King, so not the EverQuest or the old stuff like you get.
Okay.
But I would prefer to kill stuff. I think the first one I played actually where it was all about killing stuff. Your XP was Black Desert.
Okay, that's a good one actually. That's very grindy, right? Just kill. Yep.
I really like that, but I like games like Eve Online too. I play lots of Eve.
Okay. Here's the funny part about Eve. The game is intriguing as hell. I think that what has happened in the game ecosphere, Micah, check that word. Fact check that. Can I use ecosphere? Is that a thing? Did I make that up?
No, that's a real world.
Okay.
Word.
All right, I'm using it. I'm going with it. The game world is really cool. The stories that have occurred are cooler than playing, for me, because I'm horrible at it. But I've tried a few times to get on Eve, and Yeah, it's rough. But in Eve, is it mainly from killing, or it's from crafting and gathering a lot too, right?
No, just from having an old account. It's time-based account.
Okay, that's
You get
interesting.
nothing. You get nothing for killing. You get nothing for really doing anything. It's just pure sandbox.
Okay.
As far as games like Pantheon, I'm having a lot of fun with Classic WoW.
Okay. Classic WoW, you
but
could grind a
think
little bit more.
Yeah, but I'm not having a problem at all with like I'm doing a warrior, and I haven't had. They sit there and say you run out of quests and everything. I haven't ran out of a quest yet.
It's been so long. I didn't jump into Classic WoW not because I don't think it's cool, and there's tons of people in the community playing it right now, and it's again, I don't hate. If anybody ever sees anything I say and they say, why does Minus hate WoW? I do not hate WoW. I love WoW. WoW is the best gaming experience of my life, and I have to say that because I did it for 14 years. How can you do something for 14 years and not give it credit, even if it made you mad every once in a while? But
Fall asleep during modern WoW.
Yeah, right. I mean, it is what it is. I can get mad, but I can be like, damn, what other game has given me 14 years? Nothing. So Coco Mojo, you've experienced WoW in retail. You've experienced WoW in classic. You brought up Black Desert, which is very grindy. I have not played Black Desert, but Chris Kane plays a lot of Black Desert. He keeps telling me to jump in, but I've heard it's super grindy. Super grindy.
Yeah, that's what I like to do in it. Is just grind mobs for cash. But there's a lot of people who like to do PvP stuff.
Okay. So
that I don't know anything about.
So would you move this meter, or do you think you want to keep it where it's at? Would you move it down to get a little more from questing and perception? Do you want it to stay combat? Do you want it more combat? Where would you move it?
I would say 0 experience from quest. I think quest would just be like you get cool rewards, or like money or something like that.
Okay. So you want to move it up? Let's move it up. Micah, do you think we move it all the way up? We'll just start it right there and see if anyone wants to move it down. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very hard to bring down, though.
We are the Pantheon community to the core, right? I think a lot of us are going to feel that way.
Yeah, I want, like, hardcore shit.
we
don't want anything that comes easy.
No. Well, I mean, so, Coco, we both brought up the point. I'm curious if you think this is the case. In chat, please jump in on what you think on this. But is it when the combat brings you your experience, when you have to level through combat in difficult combat, doesn't it make you better at your class?
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
I just feel like when
you get more familiar with the abilities, maybe, but I want to say it makes you better.
Yeah, I guess whenever, I mean, a lot of people are judged on their skill in dungeon and raid content, for the most part. I mean, that's where it matters the most, right? So if you're leveling through dungeon and raid content, then I just feel like you're going to be more familiar with, like you said, kind of your skill set, which I think has some bearing on it. So
yeah, I think that's cool. Is leveling through raid content.
Well, in this game, they have said we are going to have low-level raids. So you're literally...
that's why.
It's going to be awesome.
I thought that would be awesome. And all open dungeons and stuff, that seems like a really, really cool idea to me. Just sitting there with a party.
See a party run by.
A dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Coco, thank you for kicking off the show tonight. Thank you for jumping into that channel and adjusting your schedule, my man. I appreciate it. And thank you for your opinion on combat experience, because I think we're gonna see a lot of that. So
thanks for entertaining me.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. I'm gonna be back down. All right, so yeah, I think one of the safest bets in the world right now, Micah, would be that a majority of people are going to talk to you. I don't know how much we're ever going to move this meter down.
Yeah.
So if you come on the show and you want to talk live, come on in and tell us your opinion. But if you want to add what you think perception should be for, since it's not experience, please feel free. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go through chat a little bit. Then we're going to pull in Bronson because he was in there next. So we'll pull Bronson. You're coming in shortly. Just a couple things here. Jared Smith said he would also dream of EverQuest. So Jared, were you in EverQuest like Micah was in Final Fantasy, or were you playing it like me? Were you dreaming about sitting at your desk? Which one was it? So we'll come back to you for that answer because there's a slight delay. Doom Turkey jumped in. Welcome, Doom Turkey. He says combat experience for the win. Surprise, surprise. We have a lot of people that want combat experience. We have Chris Ellis who joined us. He says, hello, friends. And he also said he loves the idea of low-level raids, and there's no need to wait until level cap for that type of gameplay. Yeah, that's another reason that I think that you'll see more skilled players, because you're going to have content to learn on. That's pretty cool. Has there ever been, that you know of, Micah? I mean, we haven't played everything, but do you remember there ever being like in-game style raids at mid-level?
Well, kind of, but not too much. Like in Final Fantasy 11, you could start with the Promethean stuff at around level 20.
Okay.
But it really wasn't like a raid. It was just kind of like content you had to go through.
Okay.
So I don't know if that would really count or not. But yeah, generally it's like nothing that you something I was looking for and never find it.
All right, awesome. Well, Cerulean has said that perception and quests to me should be more for gear and reputation. I like that. I like that
and
a lot,
lore.
actually. And lore, yeah.
And
Where's
lore.
Chris when you need him? This is the one time we can get Chris to actually be happy. Hopefully he watches this Sunday, man. Okay, so we let's go ahead and let's pull Bronson in, then we'll get back to reading some of the chat here. Bronson, we're pulling you in. What is going on, Bronson? How are you, sir?
Hey, man. What's going on?
Long time not talk to. It's been a week from hell for me. How was yours?
Yeah, busy. Real busy at work, so.
Busy's
definitely-
good. Busy's good.
So,
So what are you thinking, man? Where's your head at here? I think I know, but let's go through it.
well, you might be surprised.
Ooh. Bronson, bringing it.
Well, I had an idea when I'd heard some of the early stuff from Pantheon, and so I was thinking that I kind of like the idea of quests only if they're really important, and I know that they have those epic style and kind of encounters that you can come across to obtain epic abilities and so on. So I like that idea, and I really love the idea of long, drawn-out chain quests, in the sense that it makes the quest important.
Okay.
Like, you
So
know what
get
I mean?
rid
So
of the kill 10 beavers and bring me their teeth, and make things that lead into the next thing sort of driven for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's otherwise, otherwise I'd be purely just let's grind it, but I don't want to really just grind either. It's fun, don't get me wrong. There's definitely that part of Everquest that is always there. That's the best part about that game is just the conversationalizing with people and sitting around and, you know, beating down mobs and finding that boss and all that stuff. But I just really think if they could pull off some sort of an ability or some sort of a questing system that didn't feel like it is in so many other MMOs right now, where the quests are just sort of mindless, do nothing things. I would love that. I mean, kind of like just I always think of, when I think of a quest that I would love to do, it would be like Frodo doing, trying to, just that long epic kind of coming across all these different types of things and getting something along the way. And maybe in that final portion of the quest, you get something really, really important. But or just finding that random, guy on the mountain type of deal.
Or even tying questing heavily into like crafting.
Yeah.
Or even just having questing, maybe you don't get as much experience from it, but it garners you skills, right? So we know that what's been said, if you haven't seen the videos out there, you haven't seen what some people have said, the estimation of your spell book is going to be that around, and it's somewhere, depending on your class, because they will be different, between, let's say, around 30% of your spells are going to be discovered. You won't just be able to go to spell vendor and learn it. You're gonna have to find it through the perception system, or if you're a wizard, or let's say you're a monk, you have to find a monk up on top of a mountain who's been practicing this study, and you go through whatever you have to go through to learn this skill. And I like
Right.
that. That to me, that's what questing should be for, the development of your character. Even if questing awarded you like extra stat increases and stuff like that through a very long quest line instead of experience, I would like that. It would make combat more important, and it would make questing a different kind of important.
Right. I mean, I love the idea of like, here's like portion one of whatever quest, and it takes you it tells you to find something. You go find it in some remote location. It brings you there. While you're there, you're doing a lot of grinding and killing things just to find this thing. You find it, then it tells you to go to some other location, and then you can go spend hours at that location. So it's like it's combining the best of both worlds, but without having too many redundant, ridiculous, nonsensical quests. So that's what I would somehow love that. So I don't know.
Do you have any good stories of grinding experience?
Grinding experience. Wow. Yeah. I probably just mostly dungeon stuff. I think those are my most fond.
Which one stands out? Do you have a favorite? Even if it's not like the biggest and greatest, just something that you like when you think dungeons. What's the one that comes into your head?
Actually, it's World of Warcraft. Probably. Yeah, I know.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
It wouldn't be my first either, because I was thinking always, but you're bringing it up, and I think probably, I think I had a lot of recollections of good times in Dead Mines, to be honest.
That's a good one.
And it before
Micah,
they changed it.
You didn't play Dead Mines original, did you, Micah?
I'm not a Warcraft.
In World of Warcraft,
player.
not at all, right?
No. I got to 30 in the regular one during, I'm not sure which expansion, and I started Classic, but I only got to level 10 and I quit.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, was it level 18 you could sneak in there pretty effectively into Dead Mines? Maybe 15 if you were tricky.
Yeah.
Oh, man, original Dead Mines.
Also, was it, Crushbone? Definitely old Crushbone stories.
Crushbone.
Me and my buddies going
Crushbone
in there.
and EQ, man. Ambassador Divin, to this day, camp in the throne room. Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good
whenever we played our streaming of EQ1, we did it for 4 weeks. I kept begging us to start as wood elves or elves so that we could be near Crushbone or at least travel there. Haya wouldn't let me. So if anyone wanted to see Crushbone, I want to make sure everybody knows it's Haya's fault, not mine, because I wanted to see it. So Bronson, what would you do with the meter? Would you bring it back down a little bit then? Do you want to see some
I mean, you
mixture
kind
of
of
it?
have to. If and this is only obviously if they incorporate something like this, but since this is just a wish list type of deal,
Yeah. Well, guys, we like to think that
Yeah.
everything we say on this show is gospel, and Brad and them will watch it and do exactly what we all say.
exactly.
Probably not ever, but hey.
I think that they're definitely going to have. I mean, with the perception system, they're going to have something that it just depends on how deep it goes and how far they take that and how long it takes you to find particular things within those moments. I would say bring it down. I don't know whatever you consider my opinion worth of bringing it down. I would. Yeah.
What do you
I
think?
mean, that's
Go down below me a little bit? You want a little more importance? Do 80%?
Yeah, if they do what I'm hoping, that
Right.
would probably be at least a little bit more important than
Okay. I don't think saying, hey, 80% from a combat and 20% from questing is too far off. So I think that's fair. Well,
Yeah.
everyone's allowed to have their opinion, but yeah, I see where you're coming from. Awesome, man.
All right.
Bronson, thank you for jumping in, man. We appreciate it. You're always here to support us.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
man. You have to take it easy.
All right, take care.
So what do you think, Micah? You brought up some ideas about why it should be important, really long quest chains, something meaningful, something that feels like an achievement to complete. What do you feel on that?
I feel I mean, if it was done right like that, that would be perfectly fine. The big problem I think with quest and experience right now is that so many of them are just, hey, go kill 3 of this.
Or you get that
Or-
quest hub.
Yeah. And like in 14, we have these annoying quests where it's like, you want to go get a bottle of wine? Oh, well, you need to get the bottle, then you need to go pick the stuff, and you need to do it's just so annoying. So I mean, if it's done right, yeah, I mean, questing experience would be great, but if it's just a catch 3, then it's kind of like
So we had somebody new join our Discord by the name of Hoye. Hoye, you were in the green room, but you jumped up into AFK. You might have had it minimized. It might have put you there. In a little bit, we will be pulling you in. So if you still want to be on the show, just jump in that green room. We'll pull you in just a little bit. We're going to go through chat a little bit with Micah here about our thoughts. So, Micah, I'm going to run through chat real quick. I think you've brought up some good points. I think we just want meaningful quests. I think we can do without killing 10 turkeys for their feathers.
very much so.
Or just quests that maybe, like, if we're gonna collect something, have it mean something. Like, if we're collecting, okay, you know, a war is coming, and I need you to get wool for armor. Collect me 10 wools from the sheep out there. Okay. Like, when I collect 10 for you, and you have the next guy collect 10, have some kind of meter at the top of the screen that shows the progress that we're outfitting people for war. And I think that they've said that that's an idea that they're looking to do, where you may outfit an area and then all of a sudden for however long the guards in the area have better armor on, or there's just a different protection for the city. Like, something like that makes a meaningless quest of going to kill sheep. It makes the world matter. It's like, oh, okay, listen, it was really stupid that I killed sheep, but that's kind of cool that all these mages have these sweet robes on for a while.
Yeah, if they do something like that, especially if it's persistent, that's really great. If it's just like one of those throwaways where it's just like they have you do it every 15 minutes and then nothing, and then it just resets.
Yeah, maybe like you have a goal to hit, and when you hit it, maybe it takes a couple days to hit it, and then for 24 hours, the effects of that are there, and then it resets itself.
So actually, we had something like that in the very first version of 14 that died.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we had something like that with the Relic questline, the Mythic Weapon questline, where there's something called Silver Bazaar and Gold Bazaar, and we'd have to go and we'd have to collect wood and ore, and we craft all this stuff, bring it to them, and then like every 3 or so real life days, it'd go under siege.
Yep.
And
well, it's funny because WoW tried to do that in BFA, and it was a fantastic idea. Same thing, all these different people need this stuff, and you're filling a meter. And once you fill the meter as the Alliance, you take over. Now Horde's on the defensive. Really cool idea, but it was all gated. It was all time gated. So it's like, okay, we're filling these meters, but if you're gating us, then what's it matter, right?
Yeah, in 14, it was like like the things would go off no matter what every few days. And it depends on how well outfitted they were. But they were always, people just kept up on it because it was for items you needed for your mythic weapon. So yeah, it was something that was always done.
Well, weren't the quests in 11 for the mythic weapons or whatever they were called? Weren't those insane?
Yeah, it was, but it was more about collecting. It was more about grinding and collecting items. Like for the mythic weapon, you had to kill 3 bosses and then collect 30,000 of one item and 10,000 of this other currency, and 5,000 of this, and attain a certain rank. And
okay,
so yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into chat here, and then we have Hoye. We're gonna pick in next, and then after that, we have Chris. We have Christopher Kane in the green room. So we'll be pulling him in after. So let's go through some of the chat. There's been a lot of chat going on. I want to make sure you guys are recognized too. So we had Stribby, yeah. Stribby joined us. Stribby123 said Everquest with the red and white dragons we were talking earlier. Soul B dragon, forget the name. Some memorable stuff. Crinkled said, I don't mind grinding XP from combat, but Quest should give, if not decent EXP, decent enough to loot. To progress better in dungeons. Yeah, so if they're going to do quests, make them hard, but make the loot help you go after that dungeon loot. There should be that tier. I agree with that. Like, quest gear should lead you to effectively getting, better gear. That kind of stuff. I hate this part of the video above right now because this is at the end of the co-stream. He's like at his desktop and opening up videos, and you see the animations. I really need to make a better video for up here. I'm sorry, guys. Like, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, this is what... I will eventually, when hell on earth isn't raining down on me for days, I'm going to make a better clip video up top with like different things. It's not it's the same thing all the time. Anyway, Thump said Combat XP Overquest for sure. Doom Turkey, I dreamt I was in an all, I don't know that word, Rodigan Crystal Tower raid.
Oh, Rogadin?
Okay, that's Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
He dreamt he was in the raid.
Looking to see it.
Is that a cool place? I didn't get there.
Crystal Tower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was in.
It's tiny.
Is that 11 or is that 14?
Crystal Tower's 14.
Oh, you know what? I think I do remember that actually. I think I played that. It was in Heaven's Ward, right?
No, that was from A Realm Reborn.
Okay, yeah, I definitely played that.
That was the 24-man raid from A Realm
Yeah,
Reborn.
and you had the different pathing you could go into, right? Like you had A team, B team, C team.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so I do remember that a little bit. Crinkled said, fighting for XP, quests for goodies. See, I like that. It makes sense. That's how it should be. Like, if you can't get a group with people and the quests aren't, it should still be challenging. But let's say you can only get a 2-man group, but you can go grind some quests while we wait for the rest of the people to come on. Then we'll grind experience. I think having those two things separate is really good. Now, when you're killing a bunch of mobs and you're camping, you should get gear because they have gear on. So you should get gear, but make it rare. Make it important. Chris said he would take one or two, Chris Ellis, I'm sorry, because we do have Mr. Kane in the green room. Yes, I will take 1 or 2 long epic quests and remember those over hundreds of smaller quests that we see in MMOs. Yeah, it's the memories. MMOs are nothing but memories and stories, and when you don't give us the opportunity to do that, I think that's a big problem. Cerulean said quests just feel overdone. Yeah, they're the same things over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah, there's only like 3 types of quests.
Yeah, so... everyone was talking about the Coldane Shaw quest in EQ. Why do I remember that? Coldane Shaw, that's really familiar, but I can't place it. We had X Smoka. See, now I'm saying it different. I told you I was going to butcher it. X Mako says, after level 25, they should stop holding your hand. Can't wait to curb out. Awesome. Doom Turkey always felt wrong leveling up through a quest. Yep, I can see that. Let's see. Cerulean loved my green mist on my Shadow Knight, which is a one-handed sword. Xmoko bringing up Rift. Worst quest I ever did was in Rift. I think I had to go back and forth 6 times. It was such a pain as a cleric. Oh my god. I could do without fetch quests for the rest of my life. If you don't like fetch quests, please do not play Final Fantasy XIV. Oh man. Mm-hmm. I know you like the game. I'm not trying to rag on it, but you agree, right?
Well, yeah, I like aspects of the game, but I am not above criticizing it where criticism is due, just because there's.
I spent probably 10 hours. Maybe I'm exaggerating because it felt so horrible, but I spent about 10 hours in Final Fantasy XIV completing parts of Stormblood. I'm sorry, parts of Heavensward to get to Stormblood so that I could do Stormblood to get to the new expansion that was coming out. And to finish the added quests of Heavensward, it was like, go here, and I'd open my map, and I'd click on a crystal, and I'd turn something in. Go here, I'd open my map, I'd find that crystal, click it and turn it in. And I did that for what seemed like 10 hours. And I wanted to throw my freaking keyboard through my mouse.
I actually have a system in 14 now, especially with this new X-Pack. I did it again, where I will complete a zone and unlock flying in the zone and then go back and do the quests so I can do all that running back and forth really fast.
I can't do it. Please, Brad, Ben, Corey, everybody, Joppa. Please, we don't want fetch quests. Please don't give us fetch quests where it's just hand this note to this guy in this other town. If you do it, make it meaningful to the experience, please.
Know what's worse than fetch quests, though?
What?
Escort quests.
Oh. Side discussion here in the YouTube chat. Please light it up. What is worse, a fetch quest or a take this to this guy quest or an escort quest? Please.
Oh, did someone actually say that in the chat?
No, I'm telling them that I want to hear what people have to say because you just gave me shivers down my spine. And All right, so let
You
me
always
catch
wanna
up.
End up just like killing the person you're
We told
escorting.
Hoye we're going to bring him in like 10 minutes ago. So let's go ahead and we'll bring him in, and we'll catch back up on what everyone says about that topic. So Hoye, we are bringing you in. You're coming in live. If you haven't been on the show before, make sure to mute the live stream because it's going to be all kinds of echo. So here we go. We're bringing him in. Hoye, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Good. Hey, first of all, welcome to the Discord. Welcome to the party. Thank you for joining tonight. Appreciate
Thanks
that.
for hosting.
Heck yeah, man. This is a good time. We try to have fun here. Because if I don't have fun, and because of my last few days, I'm going to break stuff and be in jail. So I appreciate you coming on the show and protecting me from being in jail. So the topic at hand, we're getting sidetracked, but that's what we do, is how should we gain experience? So I want to give you the mic. I want to let you have your opinion out there. So tell us what you think of the whole EXP game.
So there's several aspects to it. For me, I hate questing. I just don't like doing it. However, I come from a very strong EQ2 background, and I love their heritage quest. The flowing black silk sash, the J boots, the whole 9 yards. Like those were all phenomenal quests. Even though I hated questing, I hated the quest hubs. Run here, pick up these 10 quests, go kill the raptors, go kill the birds, go kill this, come back, turn them all in. I'll give you a fetch quest to go to this next hub. And I hated that because a lot of times they was just taking me out of what I really wanted to do, combat and group up. And that's mostly what I wanted to do, but I was kind of forced down this quest line because otherwise there was no way to get enough experience to make it worthwhile. So I really like a lot of the experience to come from combat that way. However, I think if Pantheon is going to roll in this perception system, and the way I think they're going to do it, I think they're going to make a lot of those quests very important. Like you said earlier, like 30% of skills are going to be coming from that. So that's 30% of every single class having very special quests. And then I'm sure they're going to sprinkle in some other ones. And I'm sure the epic, to get epic abilities, I'm sure there's going to be some quest lines in there that are going to be phenomenal. So as far as time spent getting experience, I think I would like to have combat experience probably around 90 to 95% of the time of the hours played of actually grinding combat experience. However, the actual numbers of experience, I would like to have it like 60-30, 60-40.
Oh, that makes sense. So limit the quests, but make them very impactful.
Yeah, so make them drawn out, like the heritage quest. Make them drawn out. You're not just going to run through them. Draw them out, and then also make the turn-in be amazing as well, too, for all the effort,
Mm-hmm. That's actually a good point. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's that you don't want to necessarily be doing quests just to gain your experience, but when you complete an epic quest, let's make it impactful. I was thinking about this, and this happens in this show. Sometimes you just get put on the spot, so I had a random thought. We used to have hell levels at Everquest. You remember that, right?
I was EQ2. It was not quite so much.
Oh, okay. So in EQ, and I don't know if you know this, Micah, but in EQ, the 5 levels, once you got to a certain level, I want to say maybe 35. I might be wrong. Correct me in chat. But you at 35, 40, 45, 50, every 5 levels for a while, they were called hell levels. And for some reason, and I believe that it was revealed that it was a bug, these levels had a spike like you wouldn't believe, and it took so long to get through them. I'm not saying we should have hell levels, but would you guys be opposed to some sort of epic quest to get you through a key level? So let's say you level to 25, no problem, but to get to 26, you have to complete some kind of pretty crazy quest line. It's kind of gating, so I know that a lot of people may not like that, but could questing be used for that? Like, you need to experience this so that you can get higher. Is that would you like that? Would that be a big no? Would that be a maybe?
I think that really depends. If it was just to get my level, I don't think I would really like that. Just because, like you said, it would be a hell level. If it were, I hit level 25, not necessarily that I absolutely had to, but at 25, I get to do this long quest line to get my first epic ability or something like that. That would be. Yeah. But just to hold me back at a level until I finish this, I don't like.
That's a good point. I guess Crinkled said it's not much different from questing again a class within an archetype. Some games do this already. Yeah, I would say that your experience gain doesn't stop. So, like, let's say you gained a level in the time it took you to finish that quest. As soon as you did the quest, instead of dinging to 26, maybe you ding to 27. So your experience gain's not stopped. It's just this little thing that you need to do that's important. I don't know. Just
I could be okay with that then.
as long as it didn't like stop you from complete advancement. You just had to finish it, and then boom, you got all your reward.
Yeah, and as long as whatever that quest or trial or whatever it was wasn't just absolutely miserable and boring.
Yeah.
You know, that.
Meaningful, yep. And with the perception system, they can make it so cool because it can be unique to like a class
Right.
even maybe. So
And see, that's another thing I was also thinking about making quests specific to classes. So you mentioned a few moments ago about, if you can't get a group, well, you need to still be able to do something as far as, some quests or something. And I think if they do have quest hubs, if they do put something like that in there, I think it'd be really cool to have each quest giver give each class a different kind of objective, so that it kind of forces you to play as a group more as well. Instead of just having everybody pick up, this is going to be simple, but go kill 10 raptors. It's like, well, the warrior needs this mob, the enchanter needs this mob, so we're all gonna go as a group and hit all these targets at the same time.
Not a bad point, not a bad point. So you said you want the actual EXP gain to be, you would move the meter up, but you want the quests, you're in a time sense you'd move it up, but you'd kind of move it down a tiny bit if the quests maybe weren't as many, but when you finally got that quest done, it got you a lot of experience.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what would you do with the meter? You move it down a little bit then? Tiny bit?
Well, you kind of need 2 meters, I guess, for me, but I'd probably move it up. I just want the quest to force you into the world and grouping, I guess. So yeah, I'd probably move it up 95%, 90.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, hey, Hoye, sorry. Really do appreciate you coming in, man. Thanks for the first time. Thanks for joining the server. We chat in here all the time. The green room text room is alive even when the show's not on. You'll see the green room chat light up. That's for anybody watching. It gets pretty crazy in there, especially when Chris Kane's down there. I'm already afraid what he's doing down there, so we'll see soon.
He said some things in there, man.
Oh, he's a bad human being, but we love him. We love him anyways, because we can compare ourselves to him and realize that we're good people. So, just kidding.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Drop you back down.
With this one, you should have actually made like a little burst animation, so when that goes like all the way up.
yeah, it just like explodes. Well, so first of all, we don't use reactions a lot. I thought we'd use them a lot more, but we don't use them. So I'm gonna give we're gonna do a good point reaction real quick for Hoye. So I'm giving him a little bit of love. A little bit of love. Okay. So he brought up some points. What do you think about that? If we're going to do a quest, limit the amount we're doing, but make them worth a lot of experience.
I think that would make them more interesting, especially because that would allow them to make like more interesting quests too, because they're going to be able to put more time into it. Mm-hmm. I wanted to bring up something that you brought up too with the advancement quests, where they just kind of locked you at a level.
Yeah.
That you had to do. So we had that in 11.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring up Final Fantasy.
No, listen. See, you look at it like, I didn't play EQ. I look at it like I played EQ. I didn't play. We play off each other well. Let me talk about EQ. You tell me about Final Fantasy, and we're in good shape. So go for it.
So yeah, back when level cap was 75, and actually it even is now at 99. Like at 50. You had to do a quest to unlock the next 5 levels. So when you hit level 55, you could get all the way up to like 1 experience point away from level 56, and then you would just not be able to gain experience again until you did a quest to unlock it. And that you did that every 5 levels all the way up to level cap.
How did that feel? Like, what was obviously the problem with EQ in Final Fantasy 11 is the genre was so young that things were new, and it just, you kind of accepted it for what it was. Whereas that's not really where we're at now. But how did the community feel about that? Was it just that's what you had to do, or were people mad about it? Or
it was kind of that's just what you had to do, and it was also kind of annoying because you'd be in a really good leveling party, and then you'd be like, oh, I'm capped, I'm not getting anything else, so I'm gonna have to jump and run and do this quest and find people to do this quest with before I can advance. And it was kind of annoying. Now the level 70 one, which is the last one before level cap at the time, you actually had to fight the NPC who was giving you all these quests. And that fight was like epic, especially depending on what class you did it on.
Okay.
So it was something that you would really
I've heard of
prepare
that.
for.
I've actually heard of that. It's really
Yeah.
hard from my understanding. Like it was a status symbol if you finished it, right?
Well, you had to finish it to get level cap.
Yeah, but there were a lot of people who didn't. That's what, at least from my understanding.
Oh, I didn't know a lot of people who didn't at all.
Okay.
I know it was depending on what job you are. Like if you did that on Red Mage, that was amazing.
Okay.
But if you did it on Thief, then I mean you could just melee him down without much of a problem. But
Okay.
yeah, Red Mage was tough with that fight.
See, it's interesting. It's an old concept that feels new, right? Because nobody's been doing it. So
Yeah.
we're gonna bring Chris here in just a few minutes. Before we do, let's catch up a tiny bit on the chat. So Xmoko said, I think I pronounce his name different every time. I like the idea of an awesome solo quest I can do. I also like solo quests for healers, to cleric, to templar, like to adventure class if that ever happens. That's interesting. Sterling said fetch quests are as bad as escort quests. He couldn't pick between them. He hates them both. He cannot give one a positive over the other. So Crinkled said, God's no fetch. I think he meant no fetch and no escort. Yeah, he did. Solitude jumped in and just said, oh boy, ... And then Chris jumped in and said, Solitude has been drinking. Don't listen to her. So Solly, welcome if you're still here. Even if you've been drinking, you can drink as much as you like. We're here for you, Solly. Come in, get into that green room, Solly, while you're drinking. That's what the audience and the crowd deserve. They deserve that. We had Cerulean said the speed. Yeah. I don't think escort quests would be bad if the person you were escorting didn't walk as slow as humanly possible and then get out of their path and then have to walk back to their path. There's so many things wrong with escort quests. Oh, I hate escort quests. I will do a quest to collect money for t-shirts for the Pantheon shop for VR for the rest of my life if I never have to escort somebody somewhere. Crinkled said earlier, he said, those aren't quests. Those are tasks. I don't want my enchanter having a side job as a goblin tooth collector. So true. I thought about this in WoW. In WoW, your hero has killed the Lich King, taken down Rag, stopped the Burning Crusade, stopped the Cataclysm in Deathwing. You've saved the pandas. You've extinguished the Legion twice. We're having a problem with rats in the local mine. Would you do me a favor and get rid of that? And your guy's like, yes, sir, no problem. Like, what?
You know how Square Enix explains that away? They said because someone brought that up because you're like, oh, you're the hero of the realm. How come people are still sending you to do all this mundane crap? And they're just like, well, you want to know what? There's no TVs. Not everybody knows who you are. They don't know what you look like, so they're just asking for help.
It's not their fault that you're the hero who saved the world. They have a problem, and someone's got to solve it.
And they don't know who you are, so they're just, as far as they know, they're just sending an adventurer through.
Crinkled, that's the old daily quest. Crinkled said, yeah, please go kill some rats, and can you come back tomorrow and kill some more rats? Bro, like, maybe put some traps out. Stop leaving your food out of the barrels. The rat problem's your problem. It's not ours. Jeez. All right, so you ready for some Chris Kane?
I don't know.
Chris, I'm ready for you. We're bringing you in. I haven't talked to you in a while. You're playing Borderlands. We haven't got to play together. Here comes everybody, the legendary Christopher Kane. Oh, man.
What the hell? Why is my face on screen all of a sudden? God damn it.
We wanted to tell people, well, in case they haven't seen your beautiful face, they needed to know who was speaking. Yes, you are known for your voice, but you're pretty.
Yes, I'm pretty. Thank you.
So what's up, man? How you been?
Excellent. What's the topic? Is that really the topic tonight? The main source of experience points
Yeah.
gained?
Should it
Is
be
that-
questing? Should
come
it be
on.
combat? I mean, I know what you want. I know the
It should
community
be
has spoken.
No, it should be endless grinding, mobs, wave after wave, where I sit down for 8 hours every night and just kill the same mobs over and over again. Come on.
And if you die, should you lose your whole 8 hours?
If you die, your character should be dead forever and you have to start again.
You don't want
Hardcore
that.
or-
I've heard about you playing Borderlands. You don't want that.
No, I don't.
So you were brought up earlier. I don't know if you know this because you jumped in a little bit later, but I brought you up because our first guest on the show, Coco Mojo, brought up Black Desert because he had actually played some Black Desert, and he had started with World of Warcraft where there's not much grinding. I mean, there's been moments, right, in WoW where it's like, wait, dungeon grinding's the way to level, and everybody would do it, then they'd nerf it. But Black Desert is, I mean, that's pretty strict grinding. You're a big fan of that game, right?
Yeah, Black Desert. The only reason why the grinding works in that game and why I, somewhat jokingly say grinding should be the thing is because the combat is very enjoyable. It's satisfaction. It's key presses equals satisfaction with that combat system. So grinding is not that big of a deal because it's enjoyable to do combos. I mean, that's just the way things are.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work in Pantheon. I don't think we.
Well,
can
that's a fair
grind like
point.
that.
That's a fair point, right? Because the action combat isn't going to be, and that's a perfect game to compare it to, right? They're not going to be anything like each other in combat.
Oh God, nothing. It's totally opposite. There's a total opposite, which there's a case to be made for both.
Mm-hmm.
That slower, methodical. Besides, if your pillar of the game or one of your pillars is socializing with people, you can't have fast combat.
Yeah,
you just can't do it.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
because it becomes more of a focus on your button. I mean, we've seen it in WoW, right? In retail WoW, Mythic Plus Dungeons, if you talk to someone, you're an idiot because you're delaying them. So,
Yeah, if you're not pulling every mob in the zone.
in Black Desert's a lot of the same, right? It's very AoE based combat, right? It's like
Yeah,
Dynasty
pretty much.
Warriors, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Okay. All right. So where do you stand then? So you brought up great points. Nobody's really brought up that point that if we're going to say that Pantheon should be mostly combat experience, we have to look at what does the combat experience fit. Let's look at the game as a whole now. So we're labeling that we want all the experience to come from this combat, but is the combat at a pace enough that we can enjoy it? I mean, it's going to be faster than EQ, right? That's a given.
It looks like it's going to be. But if I were going to say, where should I'm such an outlier on where experience should come. It's not even funny. I would rather see things like, well, for example, exploration, exploring the world, exploring the zone.
Discover a new zone, get some experience.
That's huge for me.
Okay.
But not only that, it doesn't exist in MMOs, but it's something that they do in Overwatch. We've talked about this before, where you have a system where you can vote / upvote, downvote, or not even downvote, upvote players that you enjoy because they've contributed positively from, a group standpoint. If there was a way to get experience gains because you pulled a mob that somebody else couldn't pull as a monk. You're pulling a mob and you managed to split these two epic mobs, whatever, and you managed to pull them and you were rewarded for the fact that you could do that. That is where I wish experience could come from. Like
You know how you could do that?
thing.
You know how you could do that without, because you with what you're saying, it would be very difficult to do. But what if, like, boss mobs, for example, boss mobs were worth more experience if you killed them? What if the longer a boss mob was alive, they kind of started to tick up in experience?
I get what you mean, but that puts the focus. See, that's the difference between where my brain goes and where most people's brains go, is the focus gets shifted to the mobs.
Okay.
Shift the focus back to the players and then say, what actions can the players take that will increase my experience? Meaning, do you have a healer that doesn't let anybody die? Or that's a simple thing, but do you have
little
a
achievements within your gameplay that amp up your experience?
Where the rewards for, this is bad, but it is kind of like regulating good behavior, where if a person's not being an ass for the most part. I mean, we all like to be trolls, but if they're not being a huge ass, how can you reward them in a way that makes them want to group with other people? If that's the pillar, if the pillar is community, how do you reward that?
Yeah, and
That's where I
the
think
problem
main
is the
experience should
abuse,
come
right?
from.
The abuse
Yeah,
of the
but
system.
yeah,
is
but
the
you're
hard
going to
part.
abuse any system, no matter what system you put in, especially if the main reward comes from NPCs, because that's where exploits come from. Okay, I can exploit this mob because his pathing doesn't go here, blah, blah, blah. How do you exploit a human being?
You know how much I did that in
is
the EQ?
being fun. Well, yeah, I mean, we all did.
Pathing
We
was,
exploits.
yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting you put that up because it's like, how could you, it's like an upvote, downvote system within the game that somehow is warranted. And if someone has a string of upvoting for their achievements, maybe they bring more to a group until they lose that, or a buff falls off or something. Micah, didn't Final Fantasy had a dungeon awarding thing at the end that you could use to get like cosmetic gear and stuff, right?
Yes, it has there's a weekly achievement list, and so that encourages you to actually give the accommodations, because if you give 5, then you get experience reward for that. But then as soon as you racked up so many, you would get like gear that you could glamour, you could get mounts, everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
MMOs, I got to add one point to that. I like that system. That system in Final Fantasy. You need to take that to another level. If the game companies or the developers of the future are trying to capitalize on nostalgia or capitalize on some mechanic that we're all pining for, it needs to be, the impetus behind it needs to be the players, not the game mechanics about the mobs or the world or the environment.
Empower the people to make
it
the
may
right
be,
decisions.
Cerulean just said it was hard to, that may be hard to implement. You're absolutely right.
That's why nobody's done
Probably
it.
really hard with Unity to implement that, but if you're able to,
You had to throw
reward
that
good
Unity
behavior-
jab in, didn't you?
Well, I had to. Because whenever the hell Alpha comes out, Unity will probably be in some other version that they don't.
It's okay, because you can easily upgrade. That's the speech, right?
Yes, can, yes. But you see where I'm going. It is hard to implement, but it's those things that everybody has said, oh, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea. But it would be hard. It would be hard. Yes,
That's the whole point of this industry.
But try something new. Like rewarding. That's why, even though it really sucks.
What about, because the game?
players
So
to watch.
I think the thing is with that, right, is the game company themselves can't direct control it, because that doesn't breed community. But then the community can't direct control it, because if the community goes to shit, then the whole system falls. So it has to be some kind of give and take in between. Like the devs have to give you a reason to be a good person, and then the community has to accept when someone's a good person as well. So imagine this. Imagine loot drops, and you win the role. But a dialogue box comes up and says, you've won the role. This is a bigger upgrade for so-and-so. Would you like to give it to them instead? And maybe you get some kind of karma points.
Nah, see, that's forced. I'm
just saying
them forcing it.
In grouping with the player controlling it as well, because there has to be some from both sides, right?
What I'd like to see is, I'll take that one step further. That I sort of disagree with, where if you give up, or if you give a piece of loot to somebody, that the system itself asks you, would you like to vote for this person, whatever. Here's an example. You got EQ. You got a wizard who has his evac spell, and he's realizing that the group is going to wipe, and he casts his evac, and he gets everybody out of there, and it's awesome.
And they can all give him a thumbs up for it.
Yes,
something.
but you have that asshole guy that likes to just evac in the middle of a rare mob spawns, and he just evacs everybody. That's what I mean by that. Like,
downvote him.
You downvote him or whatever. Like, we're so ingrained with thumbs up, thumbs down, liking,
It's
loving.
crazy how much they are.
Why the hell is that not in most social focused games?
I think it's because it never works in any. Even though we're ingrained with it, like let's look at Reddit. it's made in Reddit to downvote posts that don't fit the topic at hand. But instead,
Oh,
it's just used as vengeance.
You mean Reddit, that site that has tens of millions of people looking at every day? Yeah, you're right. That's a failure.
I'm not saying Reddit's a failure.
You
I'm just
know what
saying
I
that the
mean.
intention of
That's
the
the
system
thing.
isn't working.
There's a little thing inside of us that wants to do that. They want to vote. We want to gamble.
Do you think
we wanna take
do you
risks.
think in a game world it would force people to use it a little more correctly because of the impact? Maybe.
Yeah, I do.
See, I think that would be easily exploitable, though.
You would, but if
Can you
exploit it,
thumb up
you can
and thumb
now
down?
face the consequences of exploiting it. That's the beauty of it.
How would it work
you're
with people you
rewarded.
know?
Because well, let's take it the other way. What the hell? World of Warcraft had that. I don't know when it was, but you could basically kill the NPCs in a world, and you could get negative honor, or you could become this. You get a certain title for doing that. People are going to do that no matter what. Like if there's a system that rewards good behavior, there is going to be a group of people that just want to be assholes the entire time they play the game, which is awesome. And it should be that way because that's what makes the world fun and enjoyable.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do we have more of in our real world than anything else? Assholes.
And we do nothing. Yeah, we do nothing to curb the assholes.
Nothing.
Unfortunately,
We
do
empower
nothing.
them. We empower them.
That's where I want my experience.
You want
points
your game
come
to be
from.
just. You want people are talking realism in graphics and physics. I want there to be real assholes in the game.
No, instead of on my mouse having a left click and right click, I want a thumbs up and thumbs down, and I just hover over everybody and I just thumbs down everybody.
That's a game. It's a mini game in its own. Just thumbs. Like people walk by you, you thumbs down them. He turns around. Why the hell did you thumbs down me?
It's like thumbs down. I'm going to thumbs down your YouTube.
You have
video
been
right.
You have been thumbs down by.
This is just
Chris
like that
Kane.
episode of Black Mirror.
I didn't see Black.
They literally have this on Black Mirror.
Yes, exactly. Right. That Black Mirror. That was a good one.
All right, so your original idea where this stemmed from, which was actually really, really good. I don't say that you don't have good ideas, you do. But was that the modification of experience should be gained by people doing rewardable, positive things that the community reacts to. And that's pretty interesting. I mean, it could be buffs you carry around. Like you're looking for a cleric and two people message you and you see the one cleric has a reputation buff from what he's been doing and you know he's going to come in and help your guild get a little bit more experience because of the work he's been doing. I think that's kind of cool. Is that kind of...
Yeah. So I'll give you an exploitable example. This would be some mechanic that would be totally exploitable, but is kind of what I'm thinking of. Let's just say you're a guy running around in Terminus and you're just exploring the world. And then you get a message from somebody, hey, join our group. I see that you're in our same level. We want to do this. Join up. As soon as you join the group, you might get a little something, a little bonus, a little experience points, whatever the case. It could be diminishing returns, but you joined a group. Good for you. Here's a little bit of, incentive to keep doing what you're doing. Those sorts of things are minimalized. In fact, it's non-existent. You join a group in a modern MMO and you just immediately realize, yeah, these people are, it doesn't matter who they are. You just do what you need to do to get what you want, ignore the people and get your loot. And that's it. And I want modern or a take on a modern MMO to at least reward me for wanting to group up with people that could or couldn't be bad or assholes. That's what I want. That's the
you've
dream.
brought up a
I have
lot of
dream.
good. I have a Pantheon dream. You brought up a lot of discussion. There's a lot of people that are agreeing with you that something like that would be cool. You kind of comment on the fact that people said it's going to be hard, but the one thing that was brought up is bad players will just re-roll and do it again. It's a small price to pay for their fun.
But
that's true, though.
but you will always have, if bad players re-roll and make a new character and they continue doing it, they will eventually be ostracized from that community. Like they build a reputation, and
at some point they're going to want to get
itself.
past. At some point they're going to want to get past the wall they've been at with all those characters.
Pretty much, because if they want to enjoy a social game, then they need to either commit to being evil, commit to the dark side and be that person and embrace it and just be, I'm an asshole forever. I'm going to train you and evac you and just not res you and all that fun stuff. Commit to it. And there are still people who will group with that guy just because he's fun to group with.
That's interesting, man. You brought a whole different dimension into the meter. We were talking about combat versus questing and perception, but you kind of brought in this community aspect of EXP game, which is kind of cool. I mean, imagine you have a guy who's been playing for 10 hours, which we're going to see. I might be one of them. Yes. And that person's just been doing great things for the community. And they just got all these buffs and you're like, I'm going to take that guy in my group. So it's interesting. The issue comes down to how it's handled in a guild and friend setting. Or I guess, maybe you don't worry about it, because if you find a great guild and you're friends and you're able to progress further because of these great relationships, then props to you. I guess that's not a problem.
The thing that's always diminished that, when I think of experience, not only that, when I think of climbing the ladder, it's not just experience, but when I think of advancement with my character in an MMO or a role that I want to play, I very rarely think about the interactions that I have with the other humans. It's always about the world. It's always about, okay, I need to complete X quests or, or escort quests or fetch quests or whatever it may be. And I always think of it in terms of that. And I think fundamentally, the thing that we've all been conditioned to feel that's the most rewarding are the social aspects, the things that are intangible, the relationships that you build. If there's a way to reward those things with an in-game reward, experience, loot, recognition, title, whatever, they should go above and beyond to try to find it in some way.
Yeah, I love it all. I think it's really good. I think, like you said, you'd have to deal with the negative side and hope the positive side pulls through. As long as I don't play on the server where most Reddit people are, they just run by downvoting me, and I'd be like, oh.
Like,
is that minus?
The streamer server. Which is the streamer server? I got to avoid.
I don't know. I just feel like, oh, there's minus, downvote them. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, but you'd get that, right? You would get that.
Yeah.
But that's the best.
That's kind of fun, though. Yeah.
I wouldn't want the Black Mirror thing where you'd have, the more popular you are, the more weighted or was that Community? I think that was Community. The more popular your votes or the more popular you are, the more weight you can assign to somebody. That's bad.
Well, maybe you have like a
popularity,
current infamous, current famous like thing on the server. So if someone is getting downvoted like crazy, it's like, oh, Minus is the number one infamous person on the server. Like, oh, well, hey, I guess I'll take it.
It's like emergent gameplay. You can now start to play psychological games with people to see how far you can push them. And it's a whole other aspect of gameplay that can be rewarded or not.
Please invite me into your group. I will only drop your experience gain by 10%.
Yeah. I'm going to insult you constantly during the gameplay, and that's going to be awesome.
It's actually that's a really good point to think outside the box, and I think that's something me and you in our conversations have always done. It's really an outside the box discussion about how to change the genre, not just keep doing it or slightly improving. Like, what's the difference? And you've kind of hinted at that in this conversation too, that's what's going to make the next big MMO. Now, I think when we look at Pantheon, I think everybody who invested has fully understand that this is not going to, I don't think Pantheon's goal is to be the next mega MMO. I really don't. And I think that's why I'm excited for them. They understand their market. They want to capitalize on that market. Now, that market has grown since the conception came up due to things like WoW Classic. So that makes it a little interesting, but I think that they still are comfortable being in a niche market and seeing how that plays out to begin, before.
That's a conservative view, and I somewhat agree with you, but there's an opportunity. We've talked about this. There's an opportunity right now this year, within the next 6 to maybe 10 months, there's an opportunity for a game company to start implementing things that have not been implemented in an MMO. And we were talking about it in the green room. What would it be like with augmented reality or some When the hell has there been a decent phone app that has brought you
Mario Kart just came out.
Oh boy. Oh, really? That's where
Seriously did. Mario Kart came out and crashed, and it's actually really good.
Like, okay, so besides Pokemon Go, I mean, besides things
You can't just wipe that out though, because that was a pretty impactful game in that subspace.
It was. It was, but to what space? You're not invested in the role that you're trying to play. / I'm playing an MMORPG, which everybody forgets.
Are you saying you want Pantheon to be on the phone?
I want Pantheon to.
I want you on the record.
I
I want Chris Kane on the record. I want Pantheon on the phone.
I want Pantheon to have some integration into my mobile life. Because
That's fair.
If their target are the nostalgia older people, which it is, we're on the move. We're not always in front of our computers. Most people aren't. There needs to be some integration, whether it's I can chat with my guild or I can do a fetch quest. There you go. Take your fetch quest, move them onto your phone. So it's just automatic.
Like if you go to Starbucks, you can get credit for the quest.
It feels like a game. Get Dunkin' Donuts to sponsor. Every time you walk in there, you get X amount of whatever experience points. That's what you need.
Cerulean just asked, does anybody remember EQ chat? What were you saying, Micah?
Go ahead and Google, I can't remember what it is, but Square Enix released it a couple years ago where it was a Square Enix gathering in the real world augmented reality app. And it was an April Fool's joke. It was hilarious.
Chris would have been so excited.
They had this thing where you were mining with your phone, and they were like, they say that they were going to sell attachments. You could put your phone, so you could actually use it like a pick.
Now, see, we are getting so off topic because that's what happens when we all talk. Crafting on the phone, I mean, I am in so much if I can craft on the phone and gather in augmented reality. Oh my gosh, I may craft. Maybe not gather, just craft. That would be awesome.
See, those things, like what you're describing is exactly what your brain wants. Like when you just said that, I'm thinking, boy, what it would be to have like a diplomacy type skill on my phone that I could do that would have a minor impact in the gameplay when I finally sit down in front of a PC. If I were to have something like that, where I could raise a skill that is minorly important, you've got another way.
Cerulean said like Skyrim on Alexa.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, Chris, where are we moving this meter? Do you remember what the topic was about?
Besides, where do I want to get my main XP source from?
Yeah. Would you keep it where it's at up high combat, or would you move it down?
I would move it down.
What are you thinking? How much? Give me
God, I mean,
80%?
As far as a percentage?
Yeah, 80%.
God, I'd go, honestly.
Be honest.
It's about the world. It's about the world and what you get from it. And fighting is not something that is worth a damn when it comes to investment in a story, in a character, in yourself. I would put it at lower than 50%. Like if I got experience from somewhere other than combat, it would be it doesn't happen. Why doesn't it happen? Yeah,
it does.
We
Play
like
WoW.
to fight. Well, yeah, but you're still getting grouping. I mean, shit. Okay, questing for some reason is more valuable than actually socializing with people, which I find ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
49%.
49%. That's what I want. There's my number.
All right. Well, I have to adjust it with everyone else who's said 100% from combat, so I'll move it down a little bit. Your opinion is strong, Chris.
I am linking that in the Pantheon Plus general chat. I'm linking that video for you.
Good.
Final Fantasy 14 Go.
Chris is going to send this to Brad and be like, this is what we need.
No, I'm just going to make a video yelling at the top of my lungs. What the hell?
I'm waiting for that. I think everybody here, chat, would you guys like to see Chris's video, a rant Chris Kane video on his YouTube channel? Would you guys all watch it, thumbs up, and follow him? If Chris just yelled and screamed for like 5 minutes.
I don't think anybody would want to watch that.
I will. Micah, are you in on that?
Sure. Think about that bass, though.
Listen, we won't have to worry about the audio quality. Chris will have that on check. There'll be limiters on. It's not going to hurt our ears. It'll be beautiful but angry. We want to see that. I know chat does too. They're not commenting, but they want to see it. All right, Chris, thanks for joining, man. It's been a bit.
It was fun, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Take it easy. All right, so that wraps. Oh, we just got a last minute jump in. We still have 10 minutes, and I got to bring this guy in. Zinix has just joined the green room, and I'm going to bring him in and introduce him to everybody because Zinix is really cool. If you're a fan of Brad McQuaid, if you're a fan of EverQuest, if you're a fan of Vanguard, Zinix is really, really cool, and I'll tell you why. So Zinix, we're going to be bringing you in right now. Hey Zinix, what's up, man?
Hey, not too much. How's it going?
Good. So I just hyped you up. So I want to give everybody a heads up of who you are, what you're working on. I want you to take a second to pitch that for me too, because I think it's awesome. For you guys that don't know, Zinix is one of the developers, coders, puts a lot of hard work into the Vanguard emulation server that some of you guys have seen me stream on, or maybe just grouped with me and played on there. This guy, I'm not trying to just hype you up. This guy was so cool when we were doing a stream. He literally showed up and started coding spells that weren't yet in the game for Militus while he was healing. Now, Militus just sits there and clubs things with a club as a cleric anyway, so we all die. But at the same time, Zinix was sitting here coding spells, helping us through that experience, and has made playing on that Vanguard server awesome. And I have been toying around on it again. I haven't always announced it, but so Zinix, thank you for all that.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate it. I mean, we've got a lot of good team members. Well, not a lot. We have a few good team members that's helping me with it. And without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. We still got a ways to go, but it's coming along.
And I don't want to turn this all into Vanguard, obviously, but you can donate to them if you go. What's the website address for people to go to for the emulation server?
It's vgoemulator.net.
So jump on there, guys. There's a way to donate. It's a really small team. Any tiny bit helps them with server costs, with getting the game up and running, with tweaking enemies. We were responsible. I will openly admit that our party was responsible for a massive increase in difficulty in certain areas of the game because we went in and we were housing everything, and the next night we went in, we were dying constantly. So we are responsible for that. Zinix, so you're here. I know you're excited about Pantheon. I know your love for Vanguard probably put you there. What are your thoughts on this, especially as a guy who's rebuilding Vanguard?
My thoughts when it comes to experience, well, my personal opinion is it should mostly come from mobs. I'm not a big fan of questing all the way to max level. Mm-hmm. I'm more of a fan of grouping together with people, having fun. I'm more into the social interaction. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mind quests, but I don't want it to be the main source of experience.
Or if there are quests, you want to make it so you kind of need at least a few people to help you through it.
Correct. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a few repeatable quests that require drops in dungeons. Mm-hmm. That requires a group to get some. It gives you a little bit more of a bonus. Hey, let's get a group. Let's go in a good dungeon. Repeatable quests gives a little extra experience. Nothing major. And then outside of dungeons, you can have your normal quests to help if we don't have opportunity to group of people.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. And that's actually really good because in this game, since they're open world dungeons, it's going to be harder to get into dungeons than it is in something like WoW. It's going to be harder to get to a boss and more rewarding to sit there and camp it or kill it or camp in a spot to bring bosses to. And if the quests are reliant on rare drops, not just items from these bosses for your gear, but rare drop quest items that you can take. And I think Everquest sort of had that feeling. Like I remember doing the Harvester quest like 700 times and sitting in like the hidden hallways in the State of Unrest and collecting rare drops and taking those in, or getting the ring from the Ancient Cyclops to do the J-Boost quest. Those were all hard items to get, and that made those quests a little more impactful. Is that kind of the direction you mean?
Yeah, kind of like that. And like somebody mentioned in chat, kind of like the Crushbone Belt ones were also. Mm-hmm. You get a group, get together, just little extra drops you can turn in later after you're done with your group, get a little bit extra experience.
Yeah, faction as well. Because that's the other
Correct.
thing too. We haven't played a game where faction matters in a long time. So, killing stuff is not just going to be good for experience, and quests are not just going to be good for experience, but both of those things are going to contribute to your standing in the world, which is important. So,
Correct. And faction to me is an important part also. It gives you more of an in-depth feeling when you're playing, honestly.
makes things meaningful.
Yeah, it does. Personally, I don't like being able to go everywhere all the time. I like to be able to go, hey, these people like me. These people really don't because I killed them.
I could never go to Kara Island on my Bard in EQ because I farmed them for like 6 levels, killing the entire island of cat people. I'm still hated to this day. Mike, have you ever played any games that had a really big importance on faction? Like killing something was important?
Not really.
So that's something that's going to be new for you because I didn't think that was in Final Fantasy. So I think you're going to enjoy that incredibly, if I'm going to be honest with you. How people feel about you in the world. I think that's good.
Yeah. It'd be nice enough for everybody to just not love me because I'm the hero.
Awesome. So Zinix, what would you do with that meter then? Do you want to? It's right now. Chris brought it down. I'd say, what is that, about 75%? Where are you thinking that should be? Do you like it where it's at right now? Do you think it should move up back to combat? Do you think it should move down?
Actually, I like that about where it is. 75% sounds like a good mix, honestly, to me.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, guys, please, if you're into Vanguard or you missed Vanguard, I missed Vanguard. Keep in mind, this is an emulation server. You have a small team building this up, but it is super fun. It's really fun to explore the world. I can't express that enough. It's not completed. Get into it knowing what you're getting into. Playing it, you're supporting them. Donating, you're supporting them. But I'll tell you the thing that you did for me, Zinix, more than anything. Since I missed Vanguard, you showed me a freaking beautiful world. And one of the things that Brad is known for is building an amazing world to experience. Everquest, Vanguard, and you gave me the opportunity to explore that world, and it's made me so excited for Pantheon. So thank you for that.
Well, I'm glad I could do that for you.
Awesome. Mike, anything for Zinix before we drop him down?
No, but I'll be checking that out later.
Let me know. I'll be jumping on there with you. And guys, if you're in the Pantheon Plus Discord, if you jump onto Vanguard, let everybody know, because there's a lot of people that are looking for people to play on there with and just hang out and do stuff with. So, and I'm one of them. So if I'm around, I'd be glad to jump on there. So Zinix, thanks for jumping in, man. It's a pleasure. I don't think we've ever spoken voice to each other. So I appreciate it, man.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Take care, man.
Thank you.
All right. So that brings us to the end here. So there's one last thing we have to do. If you're still hanging around and you're in chat, Micah, you have to help me with this because I can't always follow everything that we see in there. We're going to ask the chat to decide what you want to do with the meter. You can say up, you can say down, you can say keep it. And we're going to weigh how many responses we get from everybody. You guys will have the last say in moving that meter. And I'm still debating if I'm going to move mine. Am I going to come down a little bit to the community? So in chat right now, in YouTube, up if you want it to move up, stay if you want it to stay, and down if you want us to move it down. So just type it in chat and we'll adjust it as we kind of see people saying it there. So we got a couple ups already. Stay. Eric I says about 70-80% is good, so maybe up a tiny bit. As we're waiting on people to give their opinions there, just a couple things here. Zinix did say already with like Crush Bone Belts. Crinkled said factions, a whole nother ball of wax. Yeah, that could be a whole nother show topic for sure. Eric I said, boy, do I have things to say about this, but I can't jump into the green room. I'm sorry, Eric I. Maybe another time. And then there was a big discussion on how old are we? Do we all have wheelchairs? And Crinkled said, my father-in-law plays MMOs. He's 75, but he's not in a wheelchair. A little winky emote. Yeah, we are an older crowd, huh, Micah? A little older. I'm 36.
Well, yeah.
I guess that's old for gaming. I went into a Subway the other day. Here's a funny story while we wait in case anybody else wants us to move. It looks like people are pretty happy with where we are. I went into Subway. I go there all the time. There's a new kid working there. And I walk into Subway because that's where I eat lunch. And one of the guys that works there knows about my channel. And he's, how's your channel going? And I told him. And this young kid looks at me and goes, you play video games? I just looked at him like, you shitting me right now? Like, bro, you barely play video games. You don't even know what playing video games is. Back in my day.
Yeah, you want to hear something even worse?
Yeah.
I was walking through Target one day. I had on a Zelda shirt. I can't remember what my beanie was, but it was some other game. I think it was Mario Brothers or something like that. I come around the corner, and there's this woman standing with her son, and he's 10, and we're wearing the exact same outfit.
Did you like give him a thumbs up at least?
I was like, hey! His mom was just like, come on, Timmy, let's go. Stay away from the weird man.
Oh, that's outstanding. That's outstanding. One more thing I do want to give a shout out. So everybody says, I think that we got Stayer up, so I'm going to move it up a tiny bit because people seem to want to move it up a little bit. And you guys have convinced me a little bit. I'm going to move down just a tiny bit right to this line. So that's about where I am. You guys did convince me that maybe we need a little bit more. Maybe not the amount of questing, but the impact of limited questing. I actually really like that. So I'm okay with saying, and actually I'm going to move down a little bit more because as I say that, I really like that. So I'm actually going to come down. I'm actually going to go under the community a little bit. I think that I want the actual act of combat to be way more, but I'm okay with getting a huge sum of experience from completing a really big quest. Like that takes me weeks to do. I'm cool with that. I'm really, really cool with that. So I'd actually like to see that. So Micah, anything to add before we close it up? We hit 11:30. We hit our overtime. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for Zenix for coming in. Everybody who was part of it, and thanks to the chat for giving us a lot to talk about there. Anything you want to throw out before we close up this one tonight?
I just want to say, when it comes to combat experience, I owe so much of my MMO experience to combat experience. Just because in 11 that was the only way to level up. And you had to do it, and it brought me together with a bunch of really great people, and it actually is what was the catalyst for my guild in 11, and that created a lot of friendships that a decade later are still here that I probably wouldn't have had without being forced into combat grinds. Yeah. So I think
yeah, nothing like a challenge
that's why
will make
I have
you
such a soft spot in my heart for it.
Yeah, there's nothing like a challenge to make you respect somebody. And it's like when you're in the, this is completely a different topic, but like in the military, those are your brothers because it's so important for them to be there with you. Now, I'm not trying to say that gaming is the level of military and your life and death, but for your character and in tough moments that you'll experience in difficult times, it matters. So.
Yep. Yeah,
Awesome. So, Micah, I'm sure we'll see you again on the show sometime. I thank you very much, number one, for rescheduling tonight. I thank everybody who was able to make it tonight. Friday is not our standard. We will keep this on Thursdays. We had the internet issues, and you guys still showed up by the boatload here. So thank you guys for that. It's freaking awesome. This show doesn't work without community, obviously. It's Pantheon plus you, not Pantheon plus minus. So I thank you guys for that. And I did see somebody say we should have a quest to find Minus's pants. I'm in. If we can convince Brad to do that. Am I wearing pants? Micah, this is something we talk about as content creators. Am I wearing pants? I don't know. Got this sweet Pantheon shirt, but who knows if I'm wearing pants. So pretty funny. Thank you guys for that. That was awesome. Thank you guys for coming. Awesome show. We will announce the next show shortly. And pretty soon, guys, by the way, we are looking to have some community members co-host. So we're just kind of going through some of the content creators, people I know who want to be on, but people who are on the show all the time, if you want to come and co-host and sit with me the whole show and chat with people, we're going to open that up soon. I think that would be super fun. So thank you guys. Thanks to everybody who came on. Thanks to the chat. You guys are awesome. Another good discussion. It looks like we really want VR to listen and let's get our experience through combat, but make quests meaningful. And please limit the amount of escort quests and fetch quests, please. Please. Thanks, guys.
Amen.